Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is able to see me, to listen. If everything is working, just put a thumbs up, please, so I know that. Okay, perfect, perfect. So, my name is Katrina, and I will be the one conducting this presentation today. First and foremost, I want to welcome you all to this presentation, to this River Assessment Center, and congratulations, because if you are here, this is already previously approved for the Viking company and for this hiring process. So this presentation covers very different steps. So first, I'm going to do a presentation about the company, who we are, who we work with, where do we sail to. Then we're going to talk a bit about our candidates and what we require from our candidates, and also a bit about the conditions that we offer. After this presentation, you are going to be invited for an interview. The interview might happen this week or next week because my team is traveling and we have a lot of things happening at the moment, so it might take a bit longer for the interviews to be scheduled. Today and tomorrow they will be scheduled, so you're going to receive your invitation. And just make sure to see the portfolio and accept. If anybody doesn't have availability for the day, they have to invite you, just email the recruiter, and then we'll do our best to try to fit in your schedule. Please keep in mind that we do have a lot of candidates to interview, so try to be as flexible as possible to make sure that everyone has the time and the place to be able to get the interview and to do the interview on time. Okay, so let's jump into the presentation. Also, if you have any questions at the end, I'm going to open space for Q&A. So if anyone wants to ask anything, we will have the space and time for that. And obviously, we are going to do after this the one-on-one interview. So if you have any questions that you remember later or you want to keep for your one-on-one interview, please do so. Me and my team are also here to help on that matter. So regarding the team that I just mentioned, so these are the people that are going to interview you. So if you get the interview invitation, it's going to be with one of these people. Obviously, one of them might be me, so you can do the presentation with me and then do the interview with me as well. And we have a very multicultural team, which reflects also the life on board. We have Zoe, we have Flavia, we have Vivian, Marilena, me, and my colleague Mariana. So after this presentation, when the interview invitation is sent, it's going to be from me or one of my colleagues. So these are the people that you are going to have contact with, and also if you get approved, and probably you already received a couple of emails from us, and if you received emails from us, they must come from one of these colleagues that I have, or directly from me, of course. In terms of the Viking story, so Viking was founded in 1997 when Mr. Hagen bought 4 river vessels. These river vessels that he bought were sailing in Russia. And as you might be able to picture, this was in 1997, so we keep on growing and we keep on adding more and more vessels to our fleet. So currently we have more than 90 vessels sailing. I cannot even pinpoint a number because we are on the go, and we also keep on launching ships, so it's not a number that is stable because we are adding more and more vessels to our fleet from different operations. We have river, we have ocean, we have expedition, so this means that we are sailing everywhere. We obviously, for all of these vessels and for all of these itineraries and for all of these divisions, we need a lot of staff and crew members on board. So we have more than 10,000 staff and crew members coming from more than 44 different countries and different nationalities. So we have a multicultural team, and people work on board on various divisions and with various types of itineraries. We are also the proud owners of more than 450 awards. Like the vessels, this is not a stable number because fortunately we are getting more and more vessels with time as time goes by. And something that makes us very proud is that most of our awards come from being elected by the customers, so being elected by the guests, which means that the guests that travel with us enjoy the experience, and to a certain level they are happy about it, and they give us good reviews, and they want to come back and sail again with us. In terms of our cruises and what we offer, the best way to picture it is that a vessel or a cruise that we offer is basically a hotel that it's sailing. So it's a moving hotel, so it can be considered a five-star hotel that it's sailing, so it means that we are knowing different locations every single day. When the guests buy a package with us, they buy everything already included, so they have the full accommodation, one guided tour per dock location, onboard entertainment, travel to and from the ship also included, and usually the cruise lasts between 6 to 23 days. So this means that when the guests buy a cruise with us, they buy a full package. Everything is included, and we avoid nickel and diamond during our cruises because the guests have everything already prepaid for. Obviously, there are some extras if they want to buy new extras, but everything is prepaid for, so they usually have that experience and the package that they pay in advance. We have here also a lot of no's, but these are good no's, because this is what differentiates Viking from other cruise line companies. So nowadays you might see, especially on advertisements, you might see those huge cruise line companies with big casinos and Starbucks and water parks. So we are the opposite of this. We do not have casinos on board. We do not allow children on board, not for work or also for traveling. So people under 18 years old are not able to stay with us. We don't have a gym on board, mostly because we don't have space for a gym. There is also no sales pressure, so you do not get any fees if you sell more, or you do not get paid extra, and your salary is not dependent on what you sell on board, because everything is already prepaid, as I mentioned. We do not charge for beer and wine at lunch and dinner, because it's already included. We do not charge for Wi-Fi, so the Wi-Fi is part of the package as well, and we do not have any smoking on board. For the crew members, if you are a smoker, and I do see some faces rising up, we do have designated smoking areas for the crew that obviously are separated from the guests, so the guests are not able to go to those areas. And if you are a smoker, there are areas for you to smoke. But on the other hand, guests, if they want to smoke, they need to leave the vessel and do it outside. In terms of our guests, so these are the people that we cater for. So the average age for one of our guests is 55 plus years old, and they are, most of them, English native speaking people. So this means that they come from English speaking countries like United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, United Kingdom. Therefore, the main language on board needs to be English. First, obviously, for you to communicate with the guests, and also for you to communicate with your team. We have a multicultural team, and we need to have a common language. Because unfortunately, we are not able to speak all the languages, so we need to have a common language to be able to communicate with the team. If you are unsure about your English level, this also is going to depend on the position that you are applying for. Because if you are working in the reception, for example, obviously the contact with the guest is a high-level contact, so you need to be fluent in English. If you are working more in the background, more in the kitchen, obviously you still need to be able to speak English, but we do not require an extreme level of English as long as you are able to communicate with your team and understand what the managers want from you and what is required. The level of English might vary a bit. As I was also mentioning, our guests, they are well-traveled, so this means that usually this is not their first cruise. So when you meet them on board, they have been in previous cruises, they have been in previous cruises with Viking, so they know our product, they know what we serve, they are used to being sailing with us, and they are used to what we offer. And what we try to offer is a home away from home for them to see the world. So they want to travel, they want to meet new places, they want to explore new places and new cultures, and we give them space for that in a comfortable way. We give them good accommodation, good food, good beverages, and a comfort and welcoming space for them to travel and to visit those places that they want to. And for this, obviously, we have vessels. We have different types of vessels because the only main difference is the size, because the vessels need to be adaptable in terms of the places that are sailing to. Obviously, if we are sailing in a river that is a bit smaller, we need smaller vessels. And also we have a lot of locks in some rivers, so we need vessels that are able to pass through those locks. And we have different vessels that have different names, so they are usually called longships, because this is the original name that Vikings gave their ship, so we decided to borrow it. And we also have baby longships, which are a bit smaller in order to sail at different locations. These vessels, inside out, they look exactly the same. So all the vessels that we have, they are replicas of each other, so they look the same. So this means that it doesn't really matter what vessel you are going to be assigned to because they look the same as other vessels. And this is also important for our guests because if they travel with us multiple times, they already know how it works, they already know where the bathroom is, where the kitchen is, where the restaurant is, because they look identical. Our vessels are prepared between 40 to 200 guests, depending obviously on the size, and this includes between 56 and 95 stay crew stewards, as I mentioned, according to the size. Now that we know the product, now that we know the guests that we're catering for, where are we sailing to? So the presentation that I'm doing today and everyone that is here today applying for a job with us, you are being considered for our river division, which means that you are going to be sailing, if you get approved, which you hopefully will be, you are going to be sailing in Europe, in one of the rivers that we sail in Europe. So basically we have a wide variety and we have multiple itineraries. And these itineraries are basically changing all the time because we are creating more itineraries, we are adding more itineraries to our fleet, but overall, all the rivers that you are able to see here in the map, we are sailing them with different types of vessels, and our operation is going larger by the minute, so we are keeping on adding more and more vessels to our fleet and more different new itineraries. I'm just going to show you a bit of a video just to give you also a picture because I know that me here speaking gives an image, but I also want you to see what it looks like. So just give you another feeling from people that also work on board and from other experience, just to give you a feel of what I'm speaking about.
To all introverts and extroverts, team players and hard workers, to people looking for something real, meet Viking. We want to ask you, what is it that you want in life?
At Viking, we're people like Steve, Paulina, and Rodrigo. You know, people like you who want a career that takes them places. Whether it's seeing the Great Barrier Reef, setting foot on Antarctica, or being in the center of Paris, Amsterdam, or New Orleans.
Create unforgettable memories, meet new colleagues from all over the world, and make true friends along the way. Because when you are with us, you always have a Viking by your side. Because when you are with us, you're with family.
As the world's leading river and ocean cruise line, with state-of-the-art ships cruising over 100 itineraries around the globe, we offer you the chance to show the world your very best.
With us, every day is different, but it's true. It's not a walk in the park, it's a job on a ship with super attractive benefits, professional training, and great career opportunities. A job for travelers and all those who support their loved ones at home.
We are as diverse as the world itself, constantly innovating and growing. And we want you to grow with us. So ask yourself, what is it that you want in life?
I hope you were able to see the video, to hear the video, also to give you a different feeling and to give you an idea of what we are talking about. So we spoke a bit about my team and the people that are here to help you through this process. We spoke a bit about our cruises. We spoke a bit about our itinerary, our vessels. Now let's speak about our candidates. Obviously, we are looking for people that are committed. Obviously, something that I already mentioned, English is one of the requirements because you need to be able to speak with your team and also with the guests. We also look for people that are punctual, responsible, honest. Well, something that is really important for people to know when you are applying to a job on board is that you're going to be living in the same place that you are going to be working. So this is very important, and you need to be committed in order to help other departments, in order to be there for people, because obviously when we are talking about working on board and living on board, you cannot really separate the two of them, because people that you are working with are also people that you are living with. So this means that you need to be very adaptable, you need to be very realistic in terms of your personal space because it is limited, because you're going to be living with the same people. So it's something to keep in mind when you are applying for this job and when you are being selected for this job. So in terms of our policies, this is just an overview. If you have any questions related to the policy, especially to the tattoo policy, when you do the one-on-one interview with me or one of my colleagues, just make sure to mention it to them because it's easier for us to evaluate every situation individually. But just to give you an overview, so we do not allow any visible tattoos while wearing the uniform. Obviously, since the uniform differentiates, also the tattoos policy differentiate according to the uniform. So if you have a tattoo and you are not sure, is this possible, is this not possible, please during your interview just make sure to speak with your interviewer, with your recruiter, show them the tattoo if possible, and then we can see the possibilities of it being accepted or not. In terms of the grooming standards, we do require clean shave look for all the men. So if you are working on board, you need to be able to shave every single day for the job. For the interview and during the recruiting process, there's no need. And I know that sometimes people, for the interview, they go and they shave, especially for the interview, it's not necessary. Only if you get accepted and you start working on board with us. For the ladies, we allow light makeup, jewelry, and accessory as simple as possible. And in terms of couples and friends and family, obviously, some people know people that work on board. Sometimes you are applying with a friend, you are applying with a colleague, and all our candidates are evaluated individually. So we do not guarantee that you are going to be placed together with the person that you are applying with. We do our best to make sure that there is a possibility, but we do not guarantee that that happens, especially in the first contract. On the second contract, if you are successful, it's more likely that we are able to place you together, but in the first contract, it's not possible, especially when you are applying for the first time, right? So just keep this in mind. We evaluate everyone individually, so probably, especially on the first contract, you are going to be placed individually. In terms of our benefits, I'm going to try to be as clear as possible. If you have any questions, just take note, and then we are able to speak about it during the interview process. I'm going to try to be as clear as I can, but obviously this is a lot of information. Also, don't be overwhelmed. There's going to be time for you to learn all of this, and all of this is going to be communicated throughout the process in different ways. First, the salary. The salary is paid monthly directly into your bank account. The bank account needs to be in your own name. It cannot be in the name of your grandma, your dog, your cat. It needs to be in your own name, and it cannot be a shared bank account. It needs to be a European bank account, but it needs to be on your own name. The salary is paid monthly directly at the end of the month into your bank account, and it can include bonuses, if depending on the performance, and also it already includes prepaid tips. So the tips are already included in the salary. We offer two types of contracts, so either a French contract or a Swiss contract. And what does this mean? This means that if you are having a Swiss contract, you're going to pay Swiss taxes. If you have a French contract, you're going to pay French taxes. What we do, and this is obviously the salary details are going to be disclosed to you throughout the process with your agency or with your one-on-one interview that you're going to have after this. But if you are paying higher taxes, we make sure to change our gross value in order for everyone to get the same net value for that position. The values are going to be disclosed afterwards, but just for you to have an idea. On average, we offer 9-month contracts because we work with seasons, so we are not able to sail all year long. So we sail during a specific period, usually between March and the end of November, December. So right now we are in January, and the next sailing start is going to be in March. And if you are selected now, most likely you are going to start sailing with us in March, and for that we offer you a contract that finishes at the end of the season between November and December. After this, obviously, Christmas, New Year's, you're going back home, celebrate with your family, and then if you are successful, we do offer you the chance to come back. So we offer you a contract for the next season starting again in March. Other benefits that we also have are the first health and accident insurance. So while you are on a contract, you have a health insurance that Viking pays for and that you can use during the contract period. This can be used also during your vacations for anything that you need. If something happens to you, if you have any type of accident, if you need glasses, if you need to renew your glasses, so all of these details, it is included on your health insurance. You are also contributing for a pension fund, so you are paying the taxes, which means that once you're retired, you are entitled to a pension fund from the place that you paid the taxes to. Also, we have full board and lodging. Something that is also important is vacation. So we do have included vacation on your salary, and vacations are from 5 to 10 weeks paid vacation during the season. The amount of weeks that you have depend obviously on the length of your contract. This vacation and the rotation, it's done on board, so it depends on the operation needs. So something that you need to do when you get on board, just let the team know, I would like to do this, and obviously someone needs to replace you for vacation. So this is very different from operation to operation. And sometimes during the interviews, I have candidates that ask me, I have a wedding in August, it's already booked, I already told my family that I'm going, can I go to this wedding in August? Most likely yes, because obviously it's something that you already have booked, but you need to, once you get on board, inform the hotel manager, inform your supervisor, let them know I need to take this day off because I have this wedding or I have this event, I need to take the day, and then we will try to accommodate your needs, obviously depending on the people that we have to replace you while you are on your vacation days. Something that is also important, the travel to and from the ship at the beginning and at the end of the contract is reimbursed by Viking. So you pay for it, and after your probation period, we reimburse the price that you paid for the flights up to 300 euros. Something that is very important, you need to take on board with you the original receipts for you to be able to get paid. So you buy your flights, you join us on board, everything works perfectly. After your probation period, you get reimbursed by the price that you paid for those flights. Taking with you the original receipts to make sure this happens. Regarding our evaluation, obviously we have periods of evaluation. First, for us to know how the performance is going, and also if you are in desire to get promotion, to change contracts, to move to another department. So we have obviously the probation period, and we also have mid-season and end of the season evaluations. In terms of the uniform is provided by Viking. So we are going to speak to you directly, ask for your sizes, and then we are going to provide the uniform. Something that usually doesn't happen straight away is that when you get on board, the uniform takes a couple of days to be ready, because also we need to get your sizes. So the HR will advise you when you sign the contract, you're going to receive a communication, and the HR will advise you which clothes you need to bring on board according to the position that you are applying to and the uniform that you are going to have. So usually they require black pants, they require long sleeve white t-shirts, and also non-slippery black shoes, but this also depends on the position that you are being considered for, but HR will send you a communication. The Wi-Fi on board is free, so it's the same for the guests, so you don't have to pay for anything, and also you have free access to onboard laundry facilities. So you don't need to pay for the use of it, you don't need to pay for detergent, everything is included, you just need to use it according to the schedule that there is on board. So regarding accommodation and crew places, so where are you going to be when you're not working? We have multiple locations for you to use. This depends also on the vessel. So some vessels have more space, and the ones that have more space, they might have a crew mess, which is a dedicated room only for the crew. Something that we always have is a sun deck, so it's an outside exterior place only for the crew to use. So guests are not allowed in those places. And obviously you have the cabin. So when we are talking about cabins, for the majority of the positions, excluding the head of department positions, you are going to have a shared cabin. And the cabin includes a bunk bed, a wardrobe, a closet, a desk, and a chair. You are also have a TV and a private bathroom with shower and toilet for the room. In terms of onboard expectations and conditions, so everything is provided by Viking, so food, accommodation, beverages, the cabin, everything is provided. You don't need to pay for any of this, so everything is already included. You don't need to pay any extra for the food or anything, is already included, and the food is provided by the kitchen, so the kitchen is able to provide you breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so all the meals. There's also some snack stations, so if you want to get coffee throughout the day, if you want to get some cookies and some other things, obviously the kitchen provides all of this. We expect a high level of tolerance and patience because, as I mentioned before, we are working on board with people that we are living with, and something that is mandatory is to support during delivery and loadings and other departments when required. So as you might be able to imagine, the vessels don't have that much space for storage. So depending on the length of the itinerary, we have weekly to bi-weekly loading days. So this means that you are going to be docking and loading things on board, and the entire team is obligated to help on this loading day. So got either food, detergents, things that people need in the kitchen. So all of this needs to be loaded on board, and we have to do it depending on the size of the vessel, either weekly or bi-weekly. I see that some people are writing down in the chat. I'm just going to ask you to wait until the end of the presentation. I will be able to get to those questions. Just make sure to end at the end so I'm not able to stop the presentation in the middle. In terms of the position, so probably you're going to find the position that you are applying for here. So this is our organizational chart, just to give you an idea of where you are starting and where you are able to end. Just because you are starting in a lower position, this doesn't mean that this is where you're going to stay. This just means that this is where you started. So if you want to be promoted, we have clear promotion guidelines, and we have different onboard trainings for you to be able to do so. In terms of the team separately, so in terms of the galley team, so the galley team is what we call the kitchen on board. So the galley team has 10 chefs, 2 utilities, and this team is prepared to take care of the hot and the cold section, and also the live station for breakfast and lunch. The housekeeping team, it's 1 housekeeper and 9 stateroom stewards. And then this team is responsible for the staterooms, for the public areas, for the laundry, and also for the night shift. So we have someone on the night shift at all times in case something happens and we need any type of support. The guest service team, which is basically the reception or the front office, has 1 guest service manager and 2 guest service agents. This team is responsible for the shop, the guest service desk, the atrium, and also the night shift. So at Viking we have 24-hour reception. So there is always someone at the reception to help our guests. So someone will have to do that night shift. Obviously, this is going to be informed to you during the contract conditions, but it is a possibility because we always need someone on the reception. In terms of the bar and the restaurant team, we have 1 bar chef and 2 bar waiters, and we have 1 maitre d' and 12 chef de rangs. Chef de rangs is what we call the waiter on board, so it's 1 maitre d' and 12 waiters. For this team, they are responsible for the Aquavit Terrace, the Viking Lounge, and also the restaurant where all meals are served. So I know that some people here are applying for the training program, so this is mostly for you. I also want to give you an idea for other people that are not applying for the training program. If you know someone that doesn't have a lot of experience but wants to start at Viking, we do have possibilities. So currently we have 2 types of training. So we have 1 training that is called New to Hospitality and 1 training that is called New to Brand. The New to Hospitality training is a training for people that don't have a lot of experience or don't have any relevant experience in the position that they are applying for. And it's a training that lasts between 2 to 5 weeks. And it's a paid training. So we pay you to train with us. This training has basic and general professional knowledge. It has some theoretical parts, some practical parts. It has a couple of exams for you to do so. And if you are approved in this training, you get a certificate that tells you you have been approved in this training for this specific position. And if this happens after you get approved, you get offered the contract with us for the position that you are being applying for. I can give you more details throughout the process, so if you have any questions about this training throughout your interview, make sure to ask the interviewer. For this training, if you are doing this training, you already know, so you are already being selected for this position because we have the position called trainee waiter, trainee cook, or trainee stateroom. So if this is the position that you are applying for, this is the training for you. Everyone else that is not applying for the training, you have the new to brand. So the new to brand is a small training that lasts between 2 to 3 days, already included on your contract. It's just in the beginning of your contract. Instead of going straight away and start working with a team, with a guest, you have 2 to 3 days to learn about the brand. Example, if you are working in the restaurant, you have 2 to 3 days to learn about the menus, about the food that we serve, about the beverages. If you are working in the reception, the program that you are going to use. If we are working in the staterooms, whatever it is that in the staterooms that you are going to use, the detergents, the uniforms. So all of this is 2 to 3 days training for everyone that works with us, and this training is already included in your contract. So it's part of your contract. It's just for people to get acquaintance to the job and to the needs of the job. For the new to hospitality, for the people that are doing the training. So here are the dates for the future trainings. So we have trainee waiter, trainee stateroom, and trainee cook. If this date doesn't work for you, we do have one training per month. So if this date doesn't work, we can see the possibility of assigning you to a later date. So these are the sooner dates that we have. If you are able for this one, perfect. If not, we can try to assign you to a different one. So, hope the presentation is clear. Now I just wanted to give you a bit of an overview of what it is going to look like afterwards. So, after this presentation, we are going to have the onboarding process. So this means that you are going to receive an invitation for the interview. As I mentioned before, the interview might be this week or the upcoming week, because we do have a lot of candidates to interview and we are traveling. So we have a lot of team members that are traveling on business trips. So we're going to try to do our best to accommodate everybody, but please try to be flexible in terms of the schedule, because we do not have that much time to be able to fit everyone in our schedule. So try to be as flexible as possible. The later today and tomorrow, the interviews are going to be sent. So the links for the interviews, you are going to receive it on your email with the date and time for an interview. After this interview, if you are successful, we are going to let you know. If you are not successful, we are also going to let you know. If you are applying with an agency, the agency is going to give you the information. If you are applying directly, my team is going to give you the information. And obviously after that, we are going to ask for a couple of documents. And after the documents, you are going to be placed in a resource pool and eventually assigned. So I hope this presentation was clear. I'm going to open, the chat is already open, so I'm going to open space for everyone that has questions. So if you have questions, just make sure to type it on the chat. I will try my best to go through all of them. If you still have any questions after all of this presentation, if you still need help, if you still need any type of clarification, please use the one-on-one interview to also put on your questions. We are trying to be as clear as possible for you to have the best and more accurate expectations. So just make sure to ask anything. There are no dead questions. We try our best to help. So regarding the questions, I already have a couple here. So do we have a gym on board? As I mentioned in the beginning, we do not have a gym on board. Something that usually the crew does, and especially nowadays that we have this basically gyms that have this chain, so they are placed in multiple cities. Usually the team on board goes to one of these gyms, they have a membership, and every city that we dock, there is a gym. So they usually use the local gyms for this. Also, some people just enjoy the outdoors, so a couple of runs outside, some exercise outside throughout the river line is also a possibility. Okay, I see a lot of people leaving the names. I'm going to ask that as well. So please, if you are here on this presentation, please just leave your full name on the chat box. Just type it down. Simple as that, for us to make sure that you are here, because sometimes people log in with a name and then it's a different name from the application. So for us to make sure that you are here, just please leave your name. Thank you everyone that's leaving their name. So this is just for us to be able to know if you were here, right? Because this presentation is mandatory and obviously it has a lot of important information, so we need to know that if you were here. And thank you everyone for leaving your name. I'm going to give a bit of space so everyone is able to give their names, and then we can go back to the questions. I can go over some of the questions that were already here. So let me take a look. Okay. Let's see. Are necessities like shampoo, deodorant on board, or we should bring those items on board? So for personal hygiene items, you are in charge of them, so you need to take your personal hygiene items with you, which means shampoo, toothbrush, soap, all of this that is personal hygiene, you need to take on board with you. Thank you for leaving the names as well. Does anybody have any questions? Just feel free to type it, anything that I can help with. Is this presentation accessible after the meeting? Unfortunately, no. We can only, you can only see the slides while I'm presenting them. But if you have any questions about anything that was discussed, just make sure to answer in your interview. How often we are going to have drill and how is safety IPM on river. So everything that you mentioned, this is ocean. So on ocean we have different requirements and different safety equipment. So for river it's a bit different. Once you get on board, you will obviously have a basic training for this, but it doesn't compare to anything that you usually know from ocean. What about the working time? So this depends on the department and on the position, right? So it depends on what are you going to be doing on board, but usually the working hours vary from 10 to 12 hours. All of the hours are paid. So we are paying on your contract for the maximum hours, even if you are not working for the maximum hours, just in case you might be able to need to. Are all flights reimbursed or only the first one? So only the first and the last one. So the one in the beginning of the contract and the one at the end of the contract are reimbursed by Viking. The ones that you need to take or you want to take during your vacation period, this is not reimbursed. How is it determined that we are going to get a Swiss contract or a French contract? So the only difference between a French contract and a Swiss contract is where you are sailing to. So if you get a contract for a vessel that has borders with France, you're going to get a French contract. Any other options, you're going to get a Swiss contract. So the only difference is the river that you are sailing at. For people with facial hair, considering beards or mustaches, do we have to shave it off? Regarding the shaving policy, all men need to be clean, shaved, looked at all times. So you need to shave every single day for the job. Are the beds for the cabins bunk beds? Yes. So the staterooms have bunk beds. If we are talking about a shared cabin, so for all the heads of departments, it's not a shared bed, an individual cabin, but for everyone else in the crew, it is a shared cabin with bunk beds. For those who don't have an interview today, we get to know today when we are going to have the interview. So between today and tomorrow, so maximum tomorrow, you are going to receive your invite. I will try my best to send every single invite today, but maximum tomorrow you will know when your interview is. And obviously, if you don't receive the invitation by then, just make sure to send us an email. Are there bigger cruises than 200 people? Yes, they are, but they are ocean. So for river, the maximum is 200 guests. So I'm trying to regarding salaries, please ask during the interview because the salaries are different for all the positions. So during your interview, just make sure to ask me or my colleague, and we are able to disclose that information. How long is the probation period? And where would the training be held? So, good questions. First, the probation period, it depends on the length of your contract. So the probation period can be between 15 days to a month, depending on the contract length. So if you get, for example, a 9-month contract, it's going to be 1 month probation period. And in terms of where would be the training held, so the training is held in Vienna, Austria. So we have a vessel docked in Vienna, Austria, where our team is only training. So we only have trainers on board, we don't have guests, and this is only for training purposes. I hope all is clear. The housekeeping clean only rooms or help in the kitchen. So the housekeeping team is not responsible for the kitchen. So the cleanliness of the kitchen is responsibility of the kitchen staff, especially the utility position. The housekeeping and the housekeeping team is responsible for everything else but the kitchen. So they are responsible for the staterooms, the common areas, the reception area, and obviously the corridors and all those common spaces. But keeping the kitchen clean is the responsibility of the kitchen staff. On port days, are the crew allowed to go on shore if the schedule allows and timing is safe to do? Of course, if we are docked and you are on your day off, or you have only work in the morning because of your shift, you are 100% allowed to leave the vessel, go visit the city if you want. Obviously, we have some hours in terms of scheduling, so the team will let you know we are going to start sailing again at this date, at this time. Just make sure to be back by then. Will we have to go back home after training? So this depends on the training. If we are talking about the new to hospitality, so the training that lasts between 2 weeks to 5 weeks, the longer training, you might have to go back home and then get a contract to join us on board. Or you might go directly on board with us with a new contract. The other simple training, 2 to 3 days, you go directly to your contract, is also part of your contract. How do they post the schedule? So this depends on the operation. This is something that you need to speak with when you get on board with the hotel manager, because it depends on the team. I'm gonna remind everyone, if you did not leave your name on the chat box yet, please do, because we need that information in order for us to keep track. So if your name is not on the chat box, make sure to add your name. I'm trying to get to all the questions, but it is a lot of questions. Okay, thank you for adding your name. Everyone, I see that a couple of people haven't added their names yet, so if you haven't added your name, just make sure to do so, please, so we are able to keep track. Do we have laundry attendant? We don't have laundry attendant, so if the guests want to wash anything, have anything done to them, the service is a bit different. So they deliver things in the reception and then we take care of it. How many hours per week can I work? So we don't think about weekly, we think about daily. So daily, you work between 10 to 12 hours. Obviously, this depends, because we are talking about a cruise, so we are talking about itineraries. So some days we don't have guests on board because guests are leaving and coming back. Sometimes we don't have tours, sometimes we have tours, so it's a bit different, but on average, 10 hours per day. What is the appropriate hair length for male? So usually for male, we require basically short hair. It really depends on what you have at the moment. If you don't have a certainty about this, just ask during your interview, and we can see the possibilities. So everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. Unfortunately, this is all the time that I have. As I mentioned, please make sure to leave your name. If your name is not on the chat box, just do it quickly so we have this information. Once I finish this presentation, I'm going to try and schedule everyone for your interviews. Everyone that's here, you should be receiving an invitation maximum tomorrow. If you do not receive your invitation, make sure to send us an email and we will try to see what happened. The interviews are going to be held either this week or next week. So we are going to try to accommodate everybody, but we are going to do our best to send the invitations as soon as possible. Okay? If anybody has any questions, anything that was not clear, please say those questions for your interview. Me and my team, we are trying to be as clear as possible to give you as much information as we are able to, so make sure to leave those questions for our one-on-one interview. And thank you everyone for joining me today. It was a pleasure to be here, and some of you, I will see you on your